The semifinals are upon us in this 9th episode of The Ultimate Fighter, and like Charlie Brown to the football, I thought maybe in this episode, the competition would improve. Maybe, with the semifinals here, it would ignite a flame within these fighters to show their warrior spirit and prove that they truly belong on the UFC roster. Maybe, just maybe, the show would start achieving the greatness that it once had and stop wasting my goddamn time. Did I get any of that? Take a wild fucking guess. Truly, this show is damning my channel to obscurity, as these videos continue to prevent me from devoting time to other projects, and my viewership steadily declines. But, like the world's greatest Beanie Baby collector, my commitment to pointlessness remains unfazed, so let's jump right into the sinkhole. It's episode 9 of The Ultimate Fighter, Team McGregor versus Team Chandler. Or Team Chandler versus Team Chandler Light, to be more accurate now. The episode begins with the fight pairings being revealed and the teams being reshuffled to evenly distribute fighters between Team McGregor and Team Chandler. But the fighters on the red team have the option to stay with Team Chandler if they so choose. Which they did. Overwhelmingly.
I'm definitely not switching teams. I love our coaches. I love the way we train. I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor, and I'm not a fan of the way they've been training.
That makes 2 of us, Kurt. That makes 2 of us. All in all, the only person to defect from Team Chandler was Brad Katona, which makes sense because he already trains with Conor and John Kavanagh in the first place. Every other fighter is riding the red wave like they're rolling tide, baby. Woo! I know literally nothing about college football. I just thought I'd throw that in there to piss someone off.
I guess Conor's outburst at the Apex after the last quarterfinal fight didn't sit too well with all the veterans on Team Chandler.
It might be that they don't want mediocre coaching from a person that bounces around the gym like Roger Rabbit on 1,000 milligrams of Adderall, but I'm sure that the outburst at the Apex played some part in their decision making too. This episode's fight and the first fight of the semifinals is Austin Hubbard versus Roosevelt Roberts, 2 fighters who have become very friendly over the course of their training within this show. With both fighters being on his team, Michael Chandler opts to do no cornering for this fight whatsoever. This is actually an interesting concept, as it now forces both veteran fighters to rely solely on what they've already been taught, their previous fight experience, and their ability to think on their feet and lock into the moment. It'll also make the Apex more muted than Dominic Cruz's television when DC is on commentary. Before we get to the fight, however, it's time for Conor to insert himself into the mix, showing up to the Tough House wearing the wallpaper from that one scene in Scarface as a button-up, and serving the fighters Irish stew so he can get some product placement in for his shitty beer.
It wasn't really my cup of tea because, whenever you initially bite into it, you can taste the beer.
This stew could have live scorpions in it, and the beer would still be the worst part.
I wasn't really excited that Conor and his team were coming over.
Lol. After a few generically touching calls home to their families, it's time for weigh-ins for Kurt and Roosevelt, and bout money is over by $1/4 pound. Instead of going back into the sauna, he chooses to cut his hair, sending Mando leaping into barber mode. However, the loss of his dreadlocks is significant to Roosevelt as he is a Rastafarian, so surely the sacrifice will be made worthwhile inside of the cage. I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life. Roosevelt makes weight and the cornerless fight can begin. As this is the semi-finals, the fights have been bumped up to the standard 3 5-minute rounds, and holy shit do I wish that they hadn't been. At one point, Conor calls this contest a glorified sparring session, and for once in his time on this show, he's actually correct. This absolute snoozer of a fight saw 1 takedown from Austin and a whole lot of nothing. I don't know if it's just because they liked each other or couldn't get their feet on the gas, but who really fucking cares? Roosevelt may have lost this fight via split decision, but really everyone lost, most especially the viewers. And having to sit through this back to back with the London card from last weekend, all I can say is UFC.
How dare you!
And that's pretty much it. That's how the episode ends. Austin moves on to the lightweight finals, Dana's not happy about the performances, and I want to run face first into a moving train. If this is the level of athletic excellence / reality entertainment that this show is going to keep as we enter the last 3 episodes, this is the level of effort I'm going to be putting into these highlight videos. I'd ask you to like and subscribe to the channel, but at this point, I'm thinking about unsubscribing myself. I'll see you in the next episode unless I decide to act on that decision.
Hey, I got something I want you to see.
You gotta sign it.
Yeah, you got the.
Looks like Mando takes his commitment to pointlessness pretty seriously himself.